You are tuned to ARP on the Accelerated Radio Network. It's 12 noon, and it's time to have lunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Bringing money talk you can understand. And now here's your host, Miss Charlene.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Miss Charlene, and welcome to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. We are on Accelerated Radio, and I'm so glad you're here today. And if I haven't told you yet, Happy New Year. We have in studio today Mr. Greg Doomanis, and Greg is a financial planner, and we're going to talk to him today about, the goals that we've set for 2015, where we are with them, and just kind of reevaluating. We make great plans at the beginning of the year, and we talk about all the great things we're going to do, and some of us kind of don't get to that point maybe, and we're just kind of taking January to reflect and put our plan together. So Greg, since you're a financial planner, I want you to help us get our financial house in order. So let's talk about planning for a big financial future. How about that?
Oh, that's fantastic. First of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be with your listeners, Charlene.
Absolutely, absolutely. I respect you as a financial planner and as a coach, and I wanted to have my listeners have an opportunity to hear you again. You've been on the show before, and I brought you back because you got such, a great response. I wanted to bring you back and let you walk us through making this financial plan that we need to make for the year. How about that?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay, you ready to get started?
I am ready.
Okay, so where do we start? Where do we start?
Well, first of all, we start, what do you want? Look at what you want, and then elevate that to what you're committed to. Like, is that in your finances? Is that owning a house? Is that planning for your retirement? There's all the world to look at. So first of all, we look at our wants and our needs. So like, for instance, a lot of my clients say, Greg, I really want to buy a house.
Right.
I have no idea exactly how to do that, or I'm really scared to heck about doing that.
Right.
Guide me through it. How do I set up a plan so that's the end result?
Right. So, as you know, home purchase is a big one. And, I went to a dinner last night, and we were discussing that and how, the young lady said to me, she said, I want to buy a home. I want to plan for my retirement. I want to, have a nice life. How do I do it all? How do I, plan for my future, buy a house, plan for my retirement? How do we do it all? And so if you want to buy a house, which is where we're starting, we discussed it. You have to start backwards, right? Like,
right.
When do you plan on purchasing a house, and knowing what financial responsibilities there are attached to it?
Well, the first thing I would do is actually get a partner. Have somebody you can partner with, whether it's someone that you know or a professional, somebody to guide you through it. So first of all, you want to look exactly, when do you want your house? What does it take to actually get a house, to prepare monetarily, to find the right house, to actually negotiate, to get the best deal? Who's going to do the negotiation? So we want professionals on our team.
Exactly. I know when people come to me to purchase, because I'm in mortgage banking and I'm on the lending side. And so when they come to me, they want to know how much they qualify for. And hopefully they come to me before they find the house, because, to start off at the beginning, which is how much I qualify for. Is my credit in order for the amount I'm trying to purchase? Do I have enough in my savings to get the house that I want? So really, I advise people to come to me before you find the house. Come to me right at the very beginning if you're a new buyer. Now, if you've been buying homes and investment properties and things like that, you still need to come to me before you make the purchase. But when you're a new person purchasing a home, then they should come at the beginning so we can look at their credit. We can look at their income. We can start at the beginning so that they can kind of map out the road to that goal.
Well, I say you just saved a lot of your listeners a lot of time and a lot of heartache just by what you said. Because what do we normally do when we want something? We go looking for it.
Exactly.
Well, in home buying, there's so much you can do before you even look for the home, so you can actually be prepared to make the offer, and move right into your home.
Exactly. And most realtors are not going to take you out looking at homes or point you in the direction unless you have that pre-approval letter.
That's right.
Saying how much you can spend, what your purchasing power is. So to the listeners, we're starting with mortgage banking, and we're starting with the purchase of a home. Write your dream down. Where do you want to start? And always know that the home you start in is not necessarily the home that you will live in forever. It may be just that, a starter home. Mm-hmm. But if a home purchase is what your goal is, or one of your goals, start with getting your credit ran so that you know where your credit score is. The next step is to look at your bank account so you know how much money you've saved. That's why one of the things I talk to people about all the time is saving their money. Making sure that they have their money in the right vehicles that will give them the liquidity if they want to purchase a home to be able to do that. And how much of their money, and you being the finance person here, that if their money are in different pockets, the pocket that says home ownership, yes, that pocket should be sufficient for what they're looking to purchase.
It has to be enough.
That's right.
It has to be accessible.
Exactly.
It's got to be liquid.
Right.
And it's got to be ready to go when you want it.
That's right.
Need it. And so that's why professionals like yourself and myself, we just have simple checklists, things to do, when they should do it, depending on what their goals are and when they want to accomplish their dreams.
That's absolutely right. And your dreams can be, put them on a timeline.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. Make them specific and measurable so that you know how much money you need to save, where you are credit-wise, mm-hmm, and then that'll give you an indication as to when a realtor can take you out shopping.
And many of my clients, they start the process and not everything's perfect.
Right.
And the way we make a difference is really looking at the reality of right now.
That's right.
And then get it to where it needs to be.
That's right. And I tell everyone, you can purchase a home at some point. You just have to take the steps and prepare for it. So because you may not be able to purchase it today doesn't mean you can't purchase a home. It just means not today. And then you prepare for it, you lay the groundwork, and eventually you'll get there.
And the reality, knowing what's real there in your finances, in your life, gives you such freedom, peace, and ease in life. It's just a whole different way of living.
That's absolutely right. When you know where you are financially, it's a much more, in my mind, peace. It gives you peace of mind, a serenity, knowing where you are, because then you know what to fix and tweak. And let me say this. I talk to people in every economic level, mm-hmm, okay? And this misnomer of comfortable, yeah, is just that. It's a misnomer. I haven't met anyone who is comfortable where they are. I have met people who, I shouldn't say that. I haven't met people who are content where they are. People get comfortable. They're not necessarily content. And people, want to make more of their lives and what's going on in their life. Just write it down. Is that one of the things you suggest at your...
Absolutely. Like, just standing on the shoulders of what you said. Mm-hmm. Most people who are comfortable are bored.
That's
my
very true.
clients play big games, up to big things.
Right.
And they have me as their coach so that he can get to where they were committed to being. Whether your big thing is owning a house or driving an organization or making a difference in a particular community, organization, church, synagogue, temple, just huge games involving a lot of people, if that's what the games that you are.
That's right. Yeah. I feel like, the listeners that they listen in, I think they listen in for encouragement, mm-hmm, and guidance, yes, in some ways, but they don't want to be bored. Mm-hmm. So my challenge is always how to make the show interesting and to get the information out there that people really need to hold their attention. So that's why I bring on professionals like you who can answer some of those questions. So if you don't mind, I do have a question for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. One of the questions I have is, as a young person, how do you get a young person to start their financial portfolio, let's say?
Perfect question. So I always start in what's of interest to that individual.
Right.
Like, what are they all about? What gets them out of bed in the morning? Mm-hmm. Is it buying a new car? Is it saving for college? Is it, if it's a young person, heck, is it a new toy? What is it? If I'm raising a child and I have a kid who wants a new toy, I have them save a little bit for it.
So you're saying the younger you start, the better?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. When you raise a child, you may have them pay for, what in reality may be part of a toy.
Yeah.
But it gives them that sense of ownership, the sense that they actually were able to achieve something. And it makes a whole different experience of getting that toy.
Okay.
And that's just a simple little example. If you're talking about something like you want a house, or you want something like a car for a really young person, make a game out of it. What is your resources? How are you going to raise the money? Where are you going to put that money so it's going to be ready for you at the right time?
Well, that's the question, and I know a lot of people listening have that question. Where do they put their money so that it can grow? Because when you're talking to someone, not necessarily. Sometimes they're not sure. They'll have like this much money, however much it is, and they'll say, "Oh, that's not enough to invest. I only have this much money. It's not enough to invest." And they don't ask the professional, how much money do I need to invest? How much money do I need to get started? Can I give you this amount of money a month and have you put it in vehicles that will grow my money? So when they come to see you, what is the expectation? What should they expect?
What my clients can expect from me is we could start at whatever level the client has.
Okay.
For example, if it's just a small amount, we want to see that it grows. We want to make sure that the market risk is minimal or not at all.
Okay.
We want to make sure that it's able to grow so that the client can have and attain whatever they're committed to, their dreams. So it will be there when they need it.
Okay.
And that's really important, when they need it.
When they need it. Because I have a lot of people in my family. I have a niece that's a hairstylist.
Yes.
And I also, my daughter, one of my daughter's best friends, she's a hairstylist also, and both of them do my hair. And, since they are business women, successful business women,
yes.
And they are planning their future, they have families, with entrepreneurs like that, what is your suggestion?
Well, hairstylists is a perfect example.
Okay.
Because I have many clients that are in the top hair salons in the west side of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Frankly, they earn a really good income.
They really do.
And one of their challenges is a lot of their income is cash.
Right.
And they don't even take any note of it. Let's go to lunch.
Right.
And there it goes.
Right.
And if you're in the west side, you can go somewhere that's very expensive for lunch.
Yes, you can.
And then there it goes. But what a different mindset it is if you have something that you're committed to and you have somewhere to put the money that you can really have a successful in-game and have your dream.
Exactly.
And then they meet with me, say, once a month, once every few months, just to check in, see how it's going, get that pat on the back that my clients deserve for doing a good job.
Right. Now, being an entrepreneur, what is the first step? How do they get started? Like, how do they get in contact with you? And what is the expectation when they call you?
Right. First of all, let me give you my telephone number.
Okay.
They can call me directly. We could set up a meeting, and we just design what is it that they want, what do they need, what are their commitments, who do they take care of if they have a family, things like that. So get ready. I'm going to give you my telephone number.
Okay, what is it?
949-510-4303. Again, my name is Greg, and my telephone number is 949-510-4303.
Now, what is your company's name?
Executive Retirement Solutions.
Okay. And how long have you been in business?
Since 1989.
Wow. That's quite a while.
Yes.
That's quite a while.
We're
so you
very
probably
proud.
have a pretty good track record as far as knowing which companies people
Absolutely.
should invest in, and the ones that they may be a little higher risk.
Mm-hmm.
So they may, depending on where they are in their pursuit for, building a portfolio, you'd be able to advise them on things that they should buy or things they should stay away from.
Absolutely. And both in terms of what companies that will actually be the financial institutions they'd be investing with, the products themselves, and the tax codes associated with the products.
Right. That's great. So all of you entrepreneurs out there, especially the ones that deal in cash, like waitresses, I have another one. She's in Las Vegas now, a young lady. She's in Las Vegas, and she's has her own business, and she also is a waitress, and so she deals with a lot of cash. But the entrepreneurs who deal in a lot of cash, who need a vehicle to put their money in so that they can start, saving money for whatever, college for their kids, their retirement, or just their future, buying a house, whatever their next thing is.
Absolutely. All right, let me give you another example. Dentist. No one thinks of dentists taking a lot of cash. I have a client who's a dentist in the West Side, and she says, Greg, I have a problem. I said, what's that, doctor? We take in a lot of cash, and we have a lot of cash in this particular drawer, and I don't know what to do with it. So we set up a system where we actually was able to take in, declare the cash, have the cash accounted for, and put it in a system where there won't be taxes.
Right.
There is no market risk, none, and it will fulfill on what she wanted when she wanted it. And she wanted it set up for her retirement.
That's great.
And she was thrilled, and it really took out this concern, this risk, the safety risk of having all this cash around, and also be able to put it in a vehicle such that she can have what she wanted.
Wow, this is great information. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Accelerated Radio. We're at www.acceleratedradio.net, and we are enjoying talking to Greg right now, and we're talking about, writing down your goals and your financial goals and watching your money grow, because that's what it's about. I also have another young lady in my life. She's assistant principal at a school, and she's in that 30-something range, and she told me, we went to lunch about 2 weeks ago, and she said, you know what? She said, I'm starting to really feel good about saving money, and she said, you're right. It's an empowering feeling, to know that at the end of the month, I can look back over what I've spent, know where it went, know how much I have in savings, know how much I have in investments. And she said it's just a really good feeling to be in control.
Yes.
And I think that when they have an opportunity to meet with you, it gives them a sense of control.
Well, it gives them a sense of control, and also how many people really know all the ins, outs, and also what's legal and what you can do to maximize your investment. And that's where I come in.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so I have another question for you. We talked about this a little bit earlier. We were talking today, before we got on the air, we were talking about, older people that are listeners of mine, people who are much older, they're in their 60s and 70s, who are really heavily invested in the stock market. The philosophy's always been to diversify their stocks and not be aggressive or risky. And now that they're getting older, they're being told, they should be more aggressive and maybe have a little more aggressive, riskier portfolio. But people are living longer. So what is your answer to a question like that?
Well, really, the background of that question is, Greg, how do I have it so I don't outlive my income?
Exactly.
Because it used to be life was easy. You lived, you saved, you died, no more problem. You have no problem, you're dead.
Right. People aren't dying these days, Greg.
No one dies anymore.
People are living a lot longer, seriously.
Yeah, I have this client who just had a massive heart attack, and then he was brought back to life.
Right.
Now he's back to work, life is good, and he has a new problem. The new problem is, how do I save for the rest of my life?
Right.
Because he's going to live another 30 years.
Exactly. So with that, meet with people who are a little bit older and, may have an established portfolio already? And can you advise them on that so that they understand what they should do? Because like you said, if you're 60 or 70 years old, you may have another 30 years of life.
Absolutely.
So that's an entire career, another career almost. 30 years is a long time, you know.
I work with a lot of police officers, firefighters, school teachers, and they're about to retire. They've had all of their retirement programs from their employer. They may have a drop-in because they took extended service, and they have all this money coming in. What do I do so I don't run out of money?
Right.
I don't risk the money that I have because, like, say, in 2008, if you had money in the stock market, it was a horrible thing.
It was an experience, I remember. Yeah, that wasn't good.
Yeah, so how do we avoid that? Especially if you're going into retirement age and you can't risk it again.
Right.
So you may have recouped it, but what you lost, and you lost it forever, is the time it took to recoup.
You're absolutely right.
So I love talking to people who've done the right thing all their life. They're about to go to the next stage of life. How do we prepare for it, and how are we successful in retirement years?
Right. So would you give your phone number out again?
Absolutely. My phone number is 949-510-4303. Again, it's 949-510-4303. And some of our listeners may prefer to email me.
Yes.
Let me give you my email address also.
Please do.
It's my first name, my last name. So it's Greg, Greg, at DOOMANIS.com. Again, it's Greg at DOOMANIS.com.
Yes, and we're talking to Greg Doomanis, and he is a financial planner and business coach. So for all of you entrepreneurs out there, he does business coaching, and he's an excellent business coach. I can testify to that myself. And Executive Retirement Solutions is your company?
Yes.
And you talk to young people, about what they want to do as far as their financial future is concerned. You also talk to people who may be a little bit more seasoned, and they want to talk about where their finances are now and how they can create more wealth for the future.
Absolutely.
And, in building wealth, and that's what this show is about, building wealth. There's so many aspects of it, and so I like to bring on professionals like yourself to help us unpack this thing called wealth and see where we can securitize ourselves so that as we get older, we have the type of future that we want.
Perfect. And, bringing up the other side of what I have to offer is coaching, like how to explode your results in business, professionally, personally. How do you get from where you've been successful in the past up till now, higher the performance level,
right,
so that you can just have the results really that you deserve, that you want, and that you're committed to?
Absolutely. And people want to know, is coaching expensive?
No. What I do is I look exactly what you're committed to, what you can afford, and then we work it out so that I can have the opportunity to have you as a client.
Absolutely. So anyone out there who's looking for a business coach, and that means if you're starting a business and you need coaching as to the aspects of making that business successful, or if you're in business and you need expert advice, or if you need someone who can be a mentor to you, or someone that you can have the ability to talk to about your business, Greg is the person. So Greg, with that, give your phone number one more time so the listeners who didn't have a pen before can write it down.
Thank you. It's 949-510-4303. Again, 949-510-4303.
Thank you. Another question came up again from a listener. And we were talking about, there used to be a time when your parents would say, get a good job that has benefits and a pension, stay there for 30 years, retire, then you'll have a pension and Social Security, and you'll be fine. those jobs are almost non-existent anymore. And, especially this generation now, they don't want to stay somewhere for 30 years. The thought of staying in a job for 30 years just makes them cringe. They like to have more freedom. The millennials are all about freedom, and they're all about expressing, themselves. And so for that generation, what do you say about, how do they put themselves in a position where they can enjoy the best of both worlds, have a successful life, and also be able to have a successful future, which means, the security that they need for, purchasing a home, and it may be redundant, but I want the millennials to understand that they have the opportunity to do that, and maybe they don't have to do it in the way their parents did it.
Well, first of all, freedom is the best.
Absolutely.
It is fantastic. And people that create the life within the context of freedom have the best life. And what that takes is responsibility. You need to prepare yourself so you can have the freedom to be who you want to be, do what you want to do. If you want to take off a couple of weeks to go to Europe just for the heck of it, go. And you're going to need to prepare for it financially, time-wise. You got to prepare for the people around you.
That's right.
So what that takes is the man used to give you your benefits, used to give you your vacation pay, used to give you your health insurance, used to give you your retirement.
Tell you when to go on vacation.
That's it.
And how many weeks you could go
That's
on vacation.
Right. And if
you can go on vacation.
I got this big project come on. I know I gave you my word, but we're going to do away with your vacation now.
Right.
Well, if you're going to be in control, that gives you utmost of freedom. And there's some things you need to do so that you can have that freedom.
Right.
So you're going to need to go out and you're going to want to have your own health insurance, design it the way you want, but take the actions to make sure it's there.
Right.
You want to have your retirement so that at the end they're not saying, well, we know we promised this to you, but the city's broke. You've worked for the city for 30 years, and now San Bernardino's going bankrupt or whatever it is.
Right.
And you can't stand those losses. If you're in control, that gives you ultimate freedom.
I agree 110%. 110%. And what about the 401k? Does the 401k still achieve the goals that the retirement plan set out to? Is that still a good way to go, the 401k? Can you speak to that just a little?
Absolutely. I can talk a lot about the 401k. In fact, Time magazine had a cover article about how the 401k is underwater. We're tired of having to ask for our money. What's the right reason? When can I get my money? How can I get my money? When do I have to start paying back my money? At what interest rate? All of it. Well, there's alternatives 401k that gives you much more flexibility, freedom, and access.
Okay, and then I had a question too.
Yes.
One of the listeners asked, can you take the money that's in your 401k and move it into something else? And if you do, is there a penalty?
We really want to sit down, look at the contract that you have within the 401k, see what kind of fines, if anything, that's associated with that. And then consciously maximize it so it works best for you.
Okay, and so they can find all of that out by calling you and setting up an appointment.
Absolutely. I do it all the time.
Now, let me note, too, if they set an appointment to sit down with you, anyone listening wants to set an appointment to sit down and talk to you, how much does that cost?
The initial appointment is completely free. I just have the opportunity to sit with you and make a difference in your life.
Okay, and then when they call, will you explain to them what they need to bring with them, or what should they be prepared to do?
I have a small, easy checklist that I'll read right to them or email them or however they want it to tell them what they should bring. And you bring on that list whatever you have. And if you don't have it, just come anyway and we'll start designing.
Okay, that's perfect. So all of you entrepreneurs out there, all of my friends and family that are the entrepreneur and independents that, they love being, this is a place where you can have an opportunity to sit down with a professional who can help you guide your way to a successful future. And I know sometimes we think the future is now, but it's not. Yeah. The future is not now. The future is just that, the future. So if you want some guidance, I have a professional here, Mr. Greg Doomanis, and I'm so happy to have you on the show to talk just about that, how we get there, planning our financial future, what our goals are, how we want to get there. We all don't want the same things.
Absolutely.
I might want a condo by the beach as a retirement home. I might want a house, in the mountains. Everybody doesn't want to live the same place or lifestyle. So to have someone guide you to where you'd like to be, especially a professional who has a track record, I think that's phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And then you want a professional to not only design the plan, but help you implement it over time.
That's the other part.
Yes, so I meet with my clients regularly and really make sure that everything is going in the direction so that you attain your dreams.
Absolutely. So to put it in a nutshell, you need a coach.
Yes.
You need a financial coach, right?
Right, absolutely.
To help you. And, that's another thing that I've noticed is that most successful people, I don't know any successful person that doesn't have some type of coach. If you notice, athletes have coaches, right?
Right.
Actresses and actors have coaches.
Yes.
Anyone that you see that's successful, businessmen have coaches.
Most businessmen
have coaches.
Absolutely.
I have a coach.
Yes.
And what that coach is, an accountability partner. They help you create accountability to get to the dream that you set for yourself. I think that's the way I see it in my mind. This accountability coach helps you get to the dream that you set for yourself. They help you get there. They help you make it a reality.
Absolutely. The coach will have you stay the course so that you make sure you get there the fastest way possible.
Right.
They'll make sure that you will do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it.
That's
and
right.
Have fun along the way.
That's right.
And be able to really maybe point out a thing or two that you're not looking at.
And that's the other part. We see our dreams, we see our aspirations, but we may not always see all aspects of it. And that coach can kind of help guide you through the things that you did not see. That's what I think.
I think the same way you do. No surprise.
Yes. So I have another question here. When I told people you were coming on, I got all kind of questions. So this is great.
Great.
Definitely. Another question we got was, do you need a coach for all aspects of your life? That was a question. And I said, there are areas of my life where I don't need coaching, but there are aspects of my life where I do need coaching. And I think that when it comes to, your financial future, and when it comes to the future of your family and the aspects of your life that surround that,
yes,
you need a coach.
Yes. Well, let's have a whole different domain of your life. Let's choose health and well-being.
Right.
So I took on in the middle of last year Ultimate Fitness. Okay. And I don't even know what fitness is. That's the first thing I had to confront. Right. My own limitation of knowing anything. Does that mean that I'm a real athlete? Does that mean that I can run a mile in a certain way? I don't know. So I talked to nutritionists. I talked to gym people. But what I ended up is talking to a cardiologist. Stephen Gundry, Dr. Stephen Gundry, not because he has anything to do with heart. I don't have heart problems, but he's a world-renowned nutritionist.
Okay.
So he looked at my blood. I got the results from him. He showed me the gaps. He put me on a program, and in 2 months, I lost 20 pounds. He was my coach. I saw all the numbers in the blood results that moved dramatically because I had him as a coach.
Exactly.
That's how I related to him.
Yeah. So in most aspects of our lives, we should get some kind of coach. And, whether it's a book that you should read or tape that you need to listen to or a physical person that you should talk to, we need coaches.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Oh, I think it's just right next to fact.
Absolutely.
Because it's funny, we all go into our mind to figure things out, and that's a dark place to be. how great it is when you share your desires and your commitments with other people. That brings them to life, and it really makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Absolutely. And, I listen to a lot of people talk to me about their, what they want from their life.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you continue doing things the same way you've been doing them, you'll get the same results.
Yes.
And the best you'll be is average.
Yes.
If you want to live above average, you should have a supportive professional team around you to help guide you to that above average life.
Absolutely. And we could call it a miraculous life.
Absolutely. Well, that's what it becomes.
Yes, because we're going to together create miracles. And a miracle is something that's unforeseen, unpredictable, 4 years for the taking now.
Exactly. You're listening to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I'm Miss Charlene, and we're talking about guiding yourself to your financial future by acquiring coaches, mentors, and people in your life who are professionals who can help guide you there, especially when you see that you want more from your life than you have right now. And it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is where you end up.
Beautifully said.
Absolutely. So, Greg, would you give us your phone number again so that we can know how to get in touch with you if we want to get a coach or if we want to sit down and map out our financial future?
Great. My telephone number is 949-510-4303.
Perfect.
That's great. Thanks.
Yeah. So another question I have for you, we were talking about writing our goals down and talking about, how to map out our goals. Because, at the end of the year, I'm sure everyone had, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to save more money. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to finish school, or I'm going to start school. People make all of these proclamations.
Yes.
And they call them, different things. I call them proclamations. And, they talk about what they're going to do in the next year. And then we get halfway through the first month of that new year, and we're still doing things in the same way we were doing them the year before. We don't know where the paper is that had all of our goals, aspirations, and proclamations, right? And we're just kind of trudging along, just kind of doing what we've always done.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you tell the listeners to jumpstart themselves? How do they get that kickstart now that they're halfway through the month and they might be feeling like a little bit like, oh, I'm not on course for what I'm trying to do? What is a suggestion you would have?
Well, first of all, right now is the perfect time to address this. It's midway through the first month, and the nature of conversations are they disappear. You could have the greatest goal in the world, and in the nature of conversations, they disappear. It's just being human. So what I suggest and what my clients do is get in partnership with somebody, whether it's a coach or a loved one. Write down their goals, specific goals, when they're going to be achieved. Share it with people. So your word is who you are.
That's right.
You want to walk around unmessable with.
That's right.
And the way you're unmessable with is if you are your word. If you say something, the people around you know it's going to go that way. And let's start with something simple, your goals.
Right.
So let's say we have a goal of saying, okay, in 12 months, I'm going to turn the key and walk into my first house the first time. You can really visualize that.
That's right.
You can really have that, especially if you have the right people on your team. So you want to have your goals in writing and in communication with others. Share it. Share it like a good movie. Share it like it's your game.
Right, but with people who are positive, who support you.
That's right.
Right. One of the young ladies that work, I told you, she's a hairstylist.
Yes.
And she does my hair. And she just moved to a new shop. Yes. And she had this goal, and she told me about it last year. And she said, I'm moving. Mm-hmm. I'm moving in January.
Yes.
I'm interviewing places that I want to work. I want to be surrounded with positive people that are creative and supportive. And she said, and I want to do it in January.
That's beautiful.
Sent me an email and then sent me a text just Monday. And what did she say? I'm moving into my new shop on Tuesday. I am so proud of her because she set a goal, she did it, and now she's where she wants to be. And I think a part of setting goals is then there has to be some movement.
Yes.
You can't just sit and meditate over it. Meditation is fine and it has its place because it's to clear your head, right?
Right.
So, but once you've done that, you have to have some type of momentum. Start some kind of movement so that you get to the place that you've mapped out you want to go. You can't just sit on it.
Yes.
Right? So, and fear. We talk about fear a lot. I mention that in almost every time I do my show because I really want to attack that 4-letter word called fear, because I think that stops people and it prohibits people from doing the things they want to do. It prohibits them from, making money. It prohibits them from acquiring wealth. And wealth and money are two different things, and we can talk about that. Let's talk about that. What is the difference between making money and acquiring wealth?
It's all in a mindset called, am I working inside of scarcity and fear,
right,
or abundance and creation?
Okay.
My clients look what they want to have out of life, what their goals and aspirations are, and then we just look at every aspect of their life.
And money is only one of the vehicles.
Absolutely. We see what's working, what's not working, and the alterations in actions such that we actually are who we are committed to being.
Absolutely. And we want to address all components. So that's what makes us wealthy.
That's right.
So health, nutrition, serenity, business,
relationships.
That's right, relationships.
Oh, relationships are at the core of being happy,
Absolutely.
having a life that you're committed to having, not only for yourself, but for other people around you.
That's right. That's
because,
right.
Extraordinary people make the ultimate difference in people's lives.
Absolutely. Relationships are very valuable.
Right. And people are committed to organizations, like, for instance, their church. I just started working with a church, and it's about what do we do with our funds? How do we support the pastor to make sure that they have the life that they're committed to financially, so that he can make a difference with parishioners?
Right.
Extraordinary opportunity.
That's right.
Extraordinary opportunity for me to make a difference in that world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I went to an event yesterday morning.
Yes.
And I wrote down some things that they talked about at this event. And when we were talking about goal setting, it really resonated in my mind. And they said, to be successful, there are some key things you should do. Number one, get up early.
Yes.
Get up early. You should sit in silence from 5 to 10 minutes.
Right.
Movement is one of the key components. So there has to be some kind of movement. So you've written your goals down. You've gotten up early in the morning. You sat in silence for 5 to 10 minutes to clear your head, get your head right, and then you start your movement. The goals you set for the day should be goals that are obtainable.
Yes.
Right? And then your intention. What is your intention? What is the movement about? Because just moving to move is not, just because you look busy doesn't mean that you're making or creating a difference, right? So your movement has to be intentional.
Yes.
And another thing they said is gratitude. You should be grateful. Start with the things you have. What are you grateful for? Are you grateful for the family around you? The fact that you were able to wake up this morning and, have your whatever portion of health that you have. All of these things are things to be grateful for. Do you have loved ones? Do you have someone you can love? Do you have someone who loves you? If not, there's so many people out there, young children, who don't have anyone. If you don't have anyone to love, or you don't have anyone who loves you, try, adoption. Try a foster child. All those people need love, right?
Yes.
And so we were talking about those things. Affirmations. Affirm the things in your life that you want. by saying them over and over again, because through writing them down, saying them, having the movement, walking towards them, all creates the momentum that will get you to where you want to be. So I thought those things were great. And they said, listen and watch motivational and inspirational things, because your ears and eyes are the portals to your mind. And so we have to engage our mind in activity that's going to be productive, because there's so much stuff coming on television and everywhere that's so negative, right? So we have to engage ourselves in positive, motivating things. And I wanted to recommend a book.
Oh, what's that?
And it's by T. Harv Eker, and it's The Millionaire Mind.
Oh, that's a great book.
It's a great book, and I love that book because it's written in layman terms. So it's not some book that's written in textbook form, so it's boring and you can't put it down. I give copies to young people all the time. I gave my nephew a copy, and he read the whole thing within 48 hours and was doing what the book said within 72 hours. So I think that's an awesome book. It's an awesome book for anybody at any age, but especially for young people. And it's called The Millionaire Mind, and it's by T. Harv Eker. Please pick that book up. I think it's a great, great place to start as you progress through this world of wealth building.
Oh, that's so great. And today in our electronic age, there's so many accesses to developing yourself.
That's right.
You just get on YouTube, have what you want to learn about,
That's
and then
right.
it pops up with all these great TED Talks.
That's right.
Different brilliant people in the present and in the past.
That's right.
That you can just see and learn and have fun with.
And I love the TED Talks.
TED Talks are extraordinary.
They are. And we're on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, the Lunch with the Finance Bunch. So you can go to YouTube and just punch up Lunch with the Finance Bunch and find all of our prior shows. And so if you missed any shows, and guess who else is on there? You're on there. You know that.
Yeah, I do know that.
Yes. So Lunch with the Finance Bunch is on YouTube. So if you've missed any of our shows prior, you can go there and get caught up.
Well, I'm going to do just that tonight.
Absolutely.
I have something to admit to you. I haven't caught every single one of your shows, and that's a sin of mine.
No, actually, you know what? 12 to 1 o'clock, some people are busy.
Yeah.
So they can't actually listen to it live. But if you can't listen live, you can listen to it on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, and you can see us because we're videotaping it. And so you can see us live, to see the live show taped.
Beautiful.
And enjoy it that way.
Well, thank you for that. That just opens up a whole new world for me.
And you're listening to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I'm Miss Charlene, and I have Greg Doomanis in the studio today, and we're talking about creating wealth through writing your goals down and what your financial plan is for your future. And I have Greg here that can help us get there.
Fantastic. I just am so committed to people and their own success, whatever that means to them.
That's the important thing, whatever that means to them.
Yeah.
And Greg, give us your number again and the name of your company and your contact information so that we can get as many people to you as possible so that they can start the life they want to live now.
Fabulous. My name is Gregory Doomanis. My telephone number is 949-510-4303. Again, it's 949-510-4303. I'm with Executive Retirement Solutions. And my email address is Greg, G-R-E-G, at DOOMANIS.com. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I have a quote for us today. There is no scarcity of opportunity to make a living at what you love. There's only scarcity of resolve to make it happen.
Fabulous.
And that's by Wayne Dyer. Yeah.
Well, Wayne Dyer is extraordinary.
Yeah, he is. I like his stuff.
Just great. Just really great.
Absolutely. So I wanted to put that out there because, sometimes I think it's in our head. If we could get just out of our head, like you said, that's a dark, scary place. If we could just get out of our head and get into action, I think we'd do a lot better. At least I know I would.
Well, bringing things from monologue in our head to dialogue with other people that care about you, other people that that are professionals, other people that can just go forward and march to the path of success with you, it just has a whole different feel, a whole different life.
Absolutely. But while I have your attention, I have a few more questions here for the financial wizard that you are. Let me get back to my questions, because if I don't ask all these questions, I'm going to be in trouble. Okay. So another question. And this is, back to our financial part, does your Social Security, does a financial plan always take into account your Social Security benefits?
Always. Always, always. Social Security is something, it's an investment.
Yes,
you actually put money in there with an expectation of getting something back.
Right.
But things have changed, and things are changing. And you want to know, if you do a certain vehicle or certain investment, how is that going to affect it? Because some things you do can actually diminish what you're going to get from Social Security.
Okay.
And so we want to take that in consideration. We want to take your retirement that you've already done. You've already did all the successful things. We want to take that in consideration. We take it all in consideration. And we want to have that brought forth such that you get what you want when you need it and when you want it, so you can always have the life. You'll never outlive your money. You'll always be able to have the life that you deserve.
Absolutely. Does financial planning push people today more into ETFs? And please tell us what an ETF is. And index funds, because they are less expensive than mutual funds with all of their associated costs. Because, we know that mutual funds have all these costs associated to them.
Right.
So what do you say to that?
So
first, what are ETFs?
So what the difference between is the cost, the administrative cost. So the first is invested attached to index, like S&P 500 index, stock index, things that no one has to manage. If they go up, you make money. If they go down,
you don't.
You either don't make money, you lose money, or you make less money, depending on the product, depending on the financial institution you invest in. And I'd go with that with anybody who's interested in having that conversation. Just call me. Versus mutual funds, where they have a very highly compensated administrator who picks and chooses different stocks, mutual funds for you, such that you can sometimes outdo the market, sometimes not, but you pay somebody to do that. Well, most days today, you can actually not have to pay a highly priced person.
Okay.
Because there's so many indices that you can use and take advantage of and just be able to still outperform the market.
Perfect.
And it's really all about having enough money to do what you want when you want to do it.
And not have your money run out before you do.
Yeah, and exactly.
You want to have enough money to last all the way through to the end.
Yeah, I have clients who are, say, engineers. Engineers are trained to be detail-minded, know exactly everything about everything.
Right.
I love working with engineers because I'm able to really explain the inner workings of everything in detail.
Right.
Most people aren't engineers.
And most people don't care. They just want to know, if I put this $100 in, what am I going to get out on the other end? And that's all they care about.
And that's what they deserve to know.
Right.
And they want to know, how much am I going to get? How can I get it?
That's right.
How can I maximize the investment such that I get more than I even expect?
Right.
And would you guide me through it, not just now, but until I actually get it and through the time that I actually can use the money to have the life that I want?
And I'm glad you brought that up, because people have different personalities.
Yeah.
And some people want to know every single detail. Where's my money going? How am I accumulating more wealth? How long should I leave it in this investment? They have all those questions. Other people, like you said, could care less. They just want to know, I put my $100 in on this end, and I get this much out on the other end. And then there are those who are very detail-oriented, like you said an engineer would be, who is more meticulous. And so you have the ability to work with all personality types.
Absolutely. Some people like to come to my office. Some people want me to go to their office or their home.
Right.
Whatever they want, that's what we change ourselves into being.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. You know, in mortgage banking,
Yes.
I find out what my client is most comfortable with. What type of communication? Is it email? Is it text? You know, do they want to just send everything to me in an email, or do they want me to come and sit down and have a meeting with them? It's at their comfort level and their communication style.
Absolutely. I always tell the client they're in charge.
They're in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their life. It's what they're trying to do with it. It's their purchase. You know, purchasing a home is a big deal.
Absolutely.
You know, and by the way, interest rates are very low right now.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Lowest in 30 years. Like, unbelievably low. So anyone out there who's planning on purchasing a home, refinancing their home, making changes to the home they already have, like renovations and things like that, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, and
this is definitely
how long
time
is it
to do
gonna
it.
stay this way?
You know what? We don't have a crystal ball. I don't know,
right.
but I think they should take the opportunity now. So you can always call me to talk about mortgage banking at 562-533-2119. But that's something that you definitely should get together with a mortgage specialist, you know, someone in finance, and talk to them about the opportunity that's here now. And you as a finance person, what would you tell the listeners about the opportunities now with, you know, mortgages? Because there are, you know the market, so you know.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I would go to Charlotte.
Oh,
I mean, absolutely.
Thank you.
I know you. I know your professionalism.
Right.
I know your depth of caring about the client. And that's everything.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people know a lot of things.
Right.
But to find somebody who really cares about people, that's rare.
That's true.
So I
and
so
that's why,
appreciate you.
And well, thank you. And that's why I wanted to do this show, because I wanted to bring professionals on that, you know, not just have the wisdom that it takes to guide people in the direction of wealth, but also that they have the care to do it, and they generally care about the people they work with. That's something. Of course, you know, your credentials,
Yes.
you know, and your work history has to speak for itself.
Yes.
You know, and your credibility, of course. But in addition to that, you know, I like interviewing people who I feel have a general caring for people. And, you know, I'm not an expert in everything. I have my area of expertise, which is mortgage banking. And I want to introduce the listeners to people who have their expertise in other aspects, be it insurance, you know, be it in getting their financial portfolio together, or, you know, whatever financial aspect you're looking for. I want to bring people on, and I am bringing people on who can address that area for you, so that you, the listener, has the opportunity to make the best educated decision you can about the things that concern you, your family, and your life. And that's kind of what the show's about.
That's great. That's, you know, you bring something else to the party, and that is a commitment to community. I look for professionals that actually give back to the community.
I do too.
Oh, I mean, like, for instance, you have a commitment to children.
That's right.
That really speaks to my heart.
Absolutely. Women and children. That's my focus.
I mean, phenomenal. So that's why it's so great to talk to people who have a holistic viewpoint of life and humanity.
Well, a part of wealth is giving back.
Yes.
And you don't necessarily have to do it monetarily. It doesn't always have to be money. You can give your time. You can give a listening ear. You can give advice. You know, some people just need someone to talk to.
Absolutely.
You know? So I say this. Give Greg a call if you're looking for a business coach, someone in finance who can help you guide yourself. Like we said, the days of pensions and things like that, there are still some professions around that offer that, but you want to be the person that guides your life. You want to be the person that guides your finance. So if you need help with that, please give Greg a call. Greg, please give us your information one more time.
Absolutely. So my telephone number is 949-510-4303.
Okay.
Again, it's 949-510-4303. And if you'd just like to email me questions, concerns, or set up an appointment, my email address is Greg, Greg, at DOOMANIS.com.
Absolutely. So to recap, what would you say? I would say write things down, write your plan down, and it could be a rough draft. Just get your thoughts out on paper and then organize them.
Yes.
Right? We talked about that earlier. You want to add something to that?
Absolutely. So on top of that, I would calendar everything. My calendar is my best friend.
Okay.
I calendar everything. That does a lot of things for me. It reminds me of what I'm committed to.
Absolutely.
It puts it all down in action. It tells me when I'm going to do what. It also gives me a structure. Hey, you promised to be somewhere to do something
At this time
for someone else.
Exactly. Okay, well, next week we're going to have Jennifer on, and Jennifer Hoffman is a branding specialist. She'll teach you how to brand yourself and your company. Thank you so much, Greg, for coming on. As usual, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much, and I definitely want you to come back again.
Oh, my honor.
Thank you.